Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am the Painting Fireman. My name's Andy, and thank you very much for watching the last video that I put up. I had lots of really awesome comments, so I'm here back again trying to do something different. Today, I'll just show you what we have on our easel today. We took, I use a 16 by 20 canvas. You can use any canvas you want, it really doesn't matter. The last Northern Lights canvas I used was smaller and wider. This one's a little bigger. It poses a little bit more of a challenge because you got more space to put stuff, but it's a lot of fun doing it. So up on the canvas today we have black acrylic on the bottom, and that's been allowed to dry completely. You really, if you're going to paint anything with black acrylic like your canvas, you always want it to dry. Then you can put your liquid clear on the bottom, which I did. And on the top of the canvas I put liquid white. So this just makes everything nice and wet and slick. The advantage of oil paints, when you use a wet on wet technique like I do, you can mix color quite easily and it blends really nicely. The other thing it does is this color here will keep the contrast of the color correct. It'll be blue. Up here it'll mix with that white and it'll turn a different shade of blue. So if you really want strong colors, you're just going to use your liquid clear. If you want colors mixed quite well, you can go up and put it on the liquid white. I use Bob Ross brand liquid clear and Bob Ross brand liquid white. Another question we had, one of my good friends asked me, how do I clean my brushes? I clean my brushes with odorless paint thinner, and all I do is I have this can and it's got a little brush in it. It's just an empty oil or an empty paint can that I cleaned out. It's got a little scrub brush on the bottom that you can buy at any art store. Scrub around there, clean your brushes, and when you hear Bob Ross always said this was the funnest part, cleaning your brushes. When you hear that, all I'm doing is I made this little box and it contains it keeps all the paint thinner contained, and all I'm doing is getting rid of all the paint and all the paint thinner on my brush so it's nice and dry. You really want to start with a dry brush almost on every application of the paint. So here we go. We are going to make us a nice little simple sky. All I'm going to do is take some blue, and this is Prussian blue. I'm just going to drag it out, tap it on my brush. Always start, when you're starting painting, always start with as little paint as possible. You can always add darker colors. It's really hard to take away those colors once they're on the canvas, but start with a little bit of blue, and we're going to start in our top corner here, and all we're doing is making nice little X strokes all the way across. And as you go down in the painting, the liquid white mixes with our blue, and it's okay to miss a few spots here and there. I'm going to put clouds in this painting. I might put a little dark black because I'm doing a winter painting today. I kind of like to paint in the seasons. Right now we're in winter. This one's kind of going to be a winter spring kind of painting. I just added a little black, just a little bit of black, just to give a little bit of contrast here and there. Maybe we'll have a cloud somewhere in there, just to freshen up that sky. Normally winter skies are kind of gray, kind of gloomy. I don't want this to be super white, or pardon me, super bright. So I'm just adding a little bit, just using my X strokes, nothing too fancy here, all over the place. We're going to blend that out after. I'm going to put a big old mountain, and I think today we're going to make a big old rocky mountain. I live in Alberta and we have rocky mountains here. In the springtime, the tops of the mountains, sometimes you can see the dark colors and then big glaciers on the bottom, or the snow hasn't melted quite yet. So that's what we're kind of aiming for right here. Just our X strokes all the way down. I'm not too worried about down here. That's where our mountain's going to go. All right, we'll clean off the brush. So when you see me going down here, I'm just cleaning it off in low order paint thinner. You want to do that when use low order paint thinner. If you're painting inside, outside it really doesn't matter, but inside the regular paint thinner kind of smells funny. Stinks up your room. All right. You can take your 1-inch brush, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big old 2-inch brush. It just blends up a lot quicker, covers a lot more space, really. Just get right up under there. Just our X stroke, we're just blending out that sky real nice. We're going to throw some happy little clouds in there. Bob Ross always said happy little clouds, so we're going to put some clouds. You can see naturally, just because I missed a few spaces that I left that white underneath, it has made little clouds already, and you didn't even do a thing. Blend that sky down. And you can just go across. I think what we'll do today too, before we get too crazy, is you want to take your blue, put a little bit on your brush, and you want to touch the corners a little bit. Just a little bit in the corners. Just make them a slight bit darker. Just a slight bit darker than the rest of your painting. And that'll draw the eye of the viewer, and it'll just focus it in on what you want to focus it in on. And what I want to focus today on is that big mountain that's going to live there. And you can just blend it out. Just using those X strokes, nothing too fancy here, and very lightly go across. Lightly go across. Make sure you get that top under that lip there, and we're just going across. Got a nice little sky going on. So we got our blue on our canvas, kind of mixed a little bit with black. You can see some dark spots. All we're going to do is take our fan brush. You can make clouds with any kind of brush you want. Fan brush, 1-inch brush, it doesn't matter. I prefer using a little fan brush. Put a lot of paint in there. We're going to go up here. All we're going to use is the corner of that fan brush. We're going to make some indications of clouds. Now clouds are pretty random. You want to go up and down. Swirl that around. And I don't want the sky to take away from this painting, so I'm just gonna make a few clouds in the sky. Just circular patterns. Nice and simple. Nothing too fancy for our sky. Load some more paint. Maybe there's one here. Maybe we know that that big mountain's gonna go here, so we'll have one kind of peeking behind the mountain. And all I'm doing is making little swirly strokes. We're gonna buff those out, fluff those up. And maybe one kind of hiding behind here, just a little guy right there. Just a subtle indication of clouds. I don't particularly want my huge clouds taking away from my painting. And we can draw it here. And if you don't like a cloud that you made, you can always buff it out and it'll just blend right into the sky. So you want to take your 1-inch brush, make sure it's nice and dry. Just take the corner of your brush and you're making little swirl marks right here. You're going to blend out the bottom of that cloud and you're going to lift. Very, very little pressure when I lift. Here's our little guy here. We got one right here. You're just going to make little backward C strokes. And what that'll do is, if you look at clouds, they always have that little wispy part right at the top of the clouds. I'm just going to take it. And you'll notice it in your paintings if you do that little, it's those little tiny indications that are so important. You can see those clouds are just hanging out there. Another thing you can do is you can take a bit of your crimson or your red color, add it to your paint, maybe a little pinky color. That'll just make one or two of these clouds stand out just a little bit more. It'll add some shadows in your clouds. Not too heavy on the pink. It is barely visible on the canvas, but it'll show up just on a couple of them here. Those little dark places that are in those clouds sometimes. We're gonna blend that out again, just nicely, fluff it up. And I see I got a little hair here from the brush, real quick way of getting rid of hair on your canvas. It happens. These brushes aren't perfect. So all you have to do is take your brush, it'll hang out here, give her a whack. There you go, hair is gone. Nice and easy. Just buff those out just a little bit. Another hair right there. And just take your brush, get rid of that hair, and you're good to go. Alright. I think that's enough for clouds. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our big old brush, nice and dry, and we're just gonna go gently across. Just barely, you can see I'm barely even pressing down on that canvas. Barely even pressing down. There's a few spots that I see some kind of paint just hanging out there. I didn't go over any of the clouds. You don't have to worry. Just softening that. Just making it nice and soft. There we go. Looks like we got a nice, half interesting sky. Anyways, you know, it's like I said before, I didn't want the sky to take away from this painting. That's not where I intend the viewer looking. I want them to look at that big old mountain that we're gonna build right in the middle. Big old mountain time. Now there's gonna be a huge decision to make. We're gonna take some Van Dyke Brown and our black. Just gonna make a nice dark color here. Maybe a little more brown. Throw in a bit of that crimson, why not? I just want a really dark brown color. Just a bit more black. All I'm doing is taking a knife, taking a little piece of paint and mixing it in. And we can take a little bit of that blue, clean that up. Try and use all the paint on your canvas when you can. It'll save you money in the long run. You don't want to waste too much of this. It's not very expensive, but you know, it does add up over time. So make sure you try and use as much as you can. All we're gonna do is we're gonna draw out our brown paint. Take a nice big cut of paint. We're gonna go up here. We're gonna decide where our mountain lives. And our mountain, I think, is gonna live right there. And all you're gonna do is press down. I want this to be a big up and down kind of looking gnarly mountain. Scrape off some of that paint. Have your nice edge there. Some more paint here. Maybe that'll be a little more pointy, not super pointy. I want to have big old ridges straight up and down. This is going to be a really rocky mountain here. Take away some of that paint. Scrape here. Maybe another ridge comes over here. Grab some more paint. Go press down really hard. I think maybe a little valley right there. Just a subtle little valley right at the top. And another little peak here. And then he's gonna go off. I'm gonna put some really big trees on the left and right side of this painting. So I'm not really concerned about what's going on either side, because eventually, when we get there, it's all gonna get covered up anyways. Big old tree. And just let her go off. Scrape off some of that paint. See right there, I kind of made a little mistake here, but yeah, it's gonna cover it over. Like I said, if I see any mistakes up on that side there, it really doesn't matter. Honestly, it really doesn't matter, just because those big old spruce trees I think I'm gonna do today. Big old spruce trees are gonna be in there. All we want for certain is to have a nice edge to our mountain. Go. And I'll show this. We're just gonna take some of that paint and get it under there. Just take your 1-inch brush. On the bottom here, we can fan it out. It'll blend with our liquid right at the bottom. Take some of that this way. And I kind of want big old gnarly, straight up and down peaks that are living in our painting today. There, and we'll go across. Like I said, on either side, it really doesn't matter. And we'll just blend the rest of that out there. Looks like we got a big old mountain kind of just floating around. Big old mountain floating around. Alright, we're gonna mix up our shadow colors, our highlight colors. Because I'm a right-handed painter and I just hold my knife a certain way, when I put our bright side, it's just easier to have our bright side coming from the right-hand side of our painting. If you're a left-handed painter, you can always do it the opposite way. You'd hold your knife this way and go this way. It's just a little bit awkward for a right-handed painter. So a lot of my paintings, a lot of my mountains, they always have their light color on, or the sunshine color, the brightest part of the mountain on this side. And we have our shadow color. Make sure when you're painting, you always have to have a shadow. Every time you put anything that has light, it has dark. And it'll make your paintings stand out quite a bit. So we're gonna take our brown. Actually, let's get into our burnt umber. And we're just gonna slice in some white and burnt umber. The top of this mountain isn't going to have too much snow, I don't think. Maybe we'll put a little crimson in there. There we go. Very nice. So that's going to be our, that is going to be our bright color. And for shadow, we're just going to take some of this brown. Throw in some white. Maybe a bit of blue. Just mix it right on the palette here. Just a little bit of that blue, black. Kind of looking for a gray color. Kind of a bluey gray color. That's dark in there. You can see how it's kind of a bluey gray color. Little bit more white in there. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Just a nice little gray color to contrast that light color. Wipe our knife off on our, excuse my arm. Just gonna wipe our knife off. We're gonna thin that paint out real nice. And if you get streaks, that's only gonna help you on your mountain. It'll make it look like it's supposed to be there, all these real neat colors, because that color is actually gonna come and right on our knife. We got a little roll of paint, and all of those colors are going to be in there. Really simple to do, and it's kind of a mistake and not really a mistake, and it just works out really well. So if that ever happens, use it to your advantage. I didn't do that on purpose, it just happened. I had a little bit of paint on there and it mixed in with my bright color, no problem. So let's take our knife up here. We're going to go right up to this peak right here. I think I'll start, and I just very little pressure. And I'm just gonna bounce that knife around a little bit and then bring it down. We'll reload our knife. Take this one here, I think. And he's gonna just gently go off there. We'll take our dark color, our shadow color, and we're just gonna add it to this side here. I think maybe I'll put a little more blue. Try a little more blue on that one. Just didn't stand out enough. Take some of my white. More. Mix her up. Take a little cut of paint. There. That shows up just a little bit more. That'll make it look a lot more like rocks. Take our highlight color, go up here maybe, and I'm just gently tossing that around. I want these peaks almost to be flat coming this way and then starting to curve. I think maybe we'll put a big old glacier or something in there. We'll try and make that work. Almost think of springtime, just the end of springtime. or the start of springtime. Maybe that's where our glacier lives. Take our highlight color. Maybe move this guy over here a bit before I put anything else. So I switch back and forth between maybe right up here, and then he comes down, and just let that paint break all the way down to the bottom. Right up here again, maybe that little peak, maybe this guy comes over here a little bit. Nice. I might go in and put a little brighter red spots in there, a little more white. You kind of never know what's going to happen with your mountains, to be honest. Whatever the canvas wants, the canvas will take, right? There we go. There's our white. Just a little indication of snow maybe still hanging around this mountain. Just a little bit. Just a tad. I think on the bottom here we're going to put a lot of snow. Across. See this little peak right here? Yeah, that's a big one right there. I think I like the way that turned out. Just take your shadow color. Let's move up here. Lots of shadows in here. Big old rickety mountain. He's been there a long time. Just kind of hanging out with his pals here. Maybe take this here. Move it across. In the bottom, we're not going to worry too much. I think we're going to put a big bunch of snow right in there. We'll take our shadow color. I like this big ridge that just happened. We're going to pull it this way. Big old ridge right here. There's lots of things happening in this ridge that you might not see. But they're there. You put them there. As soon as you picked up this knife, or as soon as you picked up your brush, you just got your artist license. That's the way it works. You can do anything you want. It's your picture. If you don't want a mountain in your picture, don't put a mountain in your picture. No problemo. And just in a few spots, just the indication of a bit more red. Just a bit more red in there. And it's a crimson color. It isn't a fire engine red. Although our fire engine at the hall is it's white actually. So not all fire engines are red. Trust me. We have a white one where I'm on the department. Here we go. Just make little indications. I like that red in there. Alright, I just kind of took the bottom part of my mountain and got rid of some paint. I just needed some room to make some snow here, and I kind of wanted my paint to stick a little better. So all we're going to do is take our white, and like I said, there's going to be kind of a big old glacier right there with that snow coming. So I paint that snow coming right up here. Maybe he comes down way up there. You can see that there's a bit of a gap there. Big old glacier. Rocks and bumps and everything hanging out. And I'm not too worried about this side. Here it's all going to be covered in trees, so really not too worried about it. Another over here, goes up a little bit, comes down. Just let that paint break a bit. And he goes up this side. And I like There's kind of a ridge there, so I'm just going to mix some white, just some of my white and gray, and I'm just going to make that shadow right there. It is going to make it look like there's a totally brand new ridge right there. Up here, go down, just across. That mountain sure has that. That mountain sure is holding on to that snow. Doesn't want to let it go for springtime. Just go across here. Another fun thing to do is these, a lot of times these mountains, they're not flat on the bottom, right? They're bumpy, they're gnarly, they're kind of all over the place. So you might have projections just kind of hanging out. I'm just going to mix up some blue and black. And right here, right there, almost like a mini mountain. Just a bumpy, gnarly piece just hanging out here. Take some of that away. Right there. Now when you do these projections, they're just going to be mini mountains. That's all they are. I think maybe on this side there's going to be another one right around here. Just press down. Just big rocks kind of hanging around. Just big rocks hanging around. Alright, just going to put some highlights on our little projections here. There's one. Make sure you take your light color, your shadow right there. Maybe he comes around a little bit right in front. Just a gnarly little piece of rock hanging out. Maybe that's a baby mountain. His mama's in the back. His mama's in the back, making sure everything's okay. A little bit of snow on there. We'll take our shadow. Go on this side with the shadow color. Same with that other one we built on that other side. Get a burnt umber mixture. Right here. Just a gnarly looking bump right there. There we go. It's okay, I got a little blue in there. No worries, no issues with that at all. It kind of looks like a hot mess right now, but once we tie everything in there, it should look okay, I hope. Just a little bit of our white paint. We're going to tie all these guys in together here. Let that paint break up and down. Go all the way across. Maybe at the foot here. Comes across. Here. Maybe that's another projection. And then at the foot of this guy. And just take that paint and let it break right across. Just let it go across. I think we might have a little bit of water at the bottom here. Like I said, I'm not too worried about this side. There's going to be some big old trees hanging out there. Just let her swoop down this way. Come in this way a little bit. And you can see how it mixes with black. We put a little blue on the bottom, but that's going to help us in a little while here. Just let her go. Whichever way you want. I think it's going to be a little valley in here. We're going to throw some trees in the back. Maybe a little snow lives right on our little projection, just like that. I see a straight line that I need to fix. It didn't turn out very good. There we go. fixed it all up. No problem. No problem. You can always go back if you don't like something. Always go back, fix it. All right, we're gonna take our handy fan brush. I'll just give it a little clean. Just give it a little clean. We're gonna have some indications of trees that are floating around in the back. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our black paint, put some black paint on our brush, and we're just gonna put some indications of trees. Now, all I'm doing is pushing down with this brush and then just gently lifting up. Now, the trees are quite far away, barely visible to anybody. They're just hanging out in the back. Load up some more paint. Maybe there's some here. Lift up, kind of see them a little bit. Just in the back there. Just in the background. The farther things are, the less you can see. Less you can see of them. Not a whole bunch of detail in there. Pardon me. Let's put some more snow on there. We're starting to come to the front of our painting here. Put a little more snow in there. Now you can put snow down with your knife. You can put snow down with your fan brush. Whatever you want to do. Sometimes with your knife, it just gives those ridges and it doesn't make it as flat. Your knife kind of naturally just leaves ripples in the painting and they just turn out really nice. Maybe there's a stand of trees that are just a little bit closer right here. So all I'm doing is taking my fan brush. They're still a ways away. You kind of want to leave all your shadows in there. It just turns out really good. Take another fan brush. We'll have a nice clean fan brush here. And all we're going to do is just gently blend. You can see all the shadows coming in of our trees in the back. Cover this up here. Trees here. It's mixing with the blue. I put a little blue on the canvas just before. There we go. And just up a little bit. So we're kind of in a little bit of a valley. That's kind of what I was going for. That blue paint will mix quite nicely with that white, make it look nice and dark. Like I said before, don't worry about this side here. We're gonna put a big old tree, I think, on one side and the other. We might just put some more trees that are closer to us, right around here. They might have just a tad more detail. We're just gonna make them a little bigger, a little darker, so they kind of stand out. Maybe we can just see the top one. Just take the corner of your brush. There's the big guy right there. He's gonna go up this way. Now they're a little closer to us. Maybe this side has some big trees. Nothing too major yet, until we make our big old spruce trees that are gonna be hanging on the side. Go. Take some of that white on that brush. We're just going to go on the front of this one here. Just make that shadow color. Just nice gently across. Like I said, you can use your knife if you wanted to on this one here. Whichever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There we go. Making some nice little shadows just by putting that little paint before on the black, just a little bit on the bottom there, and it just makes beautiful shadows. You can hardly tell I even did anything here. And of course you got your white still because it's still springtime. Just in the back there. Get that illusion of distance. Alright, we are going to take black and blue. We got a big old pile of paint living here. Just going to use those colors right here. Get a whole bunch on our fan brush. We got to make a big decision here. We might put one right there. Big old strong tree. All we're doing is tapping on our way down. It might mix. It might mix with the mountain color in the back, but that's okay. We're going to put some highlights on there. I think he needs a friend. Let's put his friend right here. Just a friend. Everybody needs a friend, right? Live right there. Let's get crazy. Let's get crazy. Maybe their biggest friend, their buddy, he sits there and watches this mountain all day long. We're going to put him right there. All I'm doing is pressing down, and the harder I press, the more naturally the brush. He covered up his friend in the back. That's all right. He's going to sit in the front here. All the way down. We might put some bushes here. We'll have some water. So there's that side here. We know that guy's back there. We put him there. We know he's back there. All right. Let's put one right about there. What do we say? Right there, just on the corner of our brush. I'm just using a fan brush all the way down. You can reload halfway if you feel like it. And covered up those trees that I put there. That's okay. No big issue. There he is. There's that guy right there. Of course, he needs a friend. And you can see how I covered up. I didn't want paint on this side of the mountain. I'm just covering up with my trees. Maybe he's a bit taller. Maybe he's just a little bit taller. He's got a squirrely top on him. That's okay. Just pressing downwards. We will highlight these guys afterwards. I think on the front we'll have some bushes come in there. We'll throw another guy, maybe he's a little shorter. Right there. Just pressing down. Just pressing down. And into the darkness. And into the dark. So we'll put one more. Maybe he's kind of a medium-sized one. He's just sitting there. There he is. Right there. I knew he was there. Kind of felt him there. Just going to darken this up here a little bit. Just to show a bit more of those branches. Take a bit of brown. Add some white to it. Just a little roll of paint. And we're just going to put an indication. Nothing too major. We're probably going to cover these up mostly with our highlights. But we want to press down just in the odd spots here. We'll give these guys a little top. Just cut right in. And this guy, he's kind of hiding in the back there. Same with these ones. Just a little bit on the top. Just to kind of give them a hat almost. We're going to take our paint and we're going to put just the slightest of indications. And then we can go ahead and maybe put some stuff kind of growing in there. We're going to clean up the front. We're going to put some snow down, we'll put our water in, and then we'll put some bushes in the front here. So we're going to take some yellow, bit of sap green, just on our brush. Maybe add some white to that, a bit more yellow. Kind of looking for a evergreen kind of color, more yellowy than anything. Oh, that looks nice right there. Get that on your brush, maybe a little more yellow. Get that loaded onto your brush. And all we're going to do is do the same thing how we made our trees before. We're just going to tap. And that will bring out, just highlight a few spots on there. It's still a bit dark. Just a little bit dark. That big guy. And if you have trouble, like I am, with your paint sticking, just add a little bit of paint thinner. Add some more white here. A little bit of paint thinner. A little bit of white will brighten that up just a little bit. And then we'll go over here. And now you can see just on a few branches, darker, darker, darker as we go down. Put some more on here. Maybe this guy has some. He lives right in front here. Just a few on the guy in the back. We really want him hiding out in the back. We don't really want to highlight him too much. Let's get this guy here. You can see how that paint is now sticking quite nicely to our trees. Dark, dark, dark all the way down. So I think we're going to put some bushes there. We're just going to go over these guys one more time, just to give them a little bit more definition. Dark on the way down. That guy in the back will just stay that way. Yeah, see, we know he's there, right? We put him there, we know he's there. Just dark on the way down. Maybe a few here. There we go. Before we move on to our bottom of our painting, I just noticed right up here, I don't like the way the mountain is sitting. I'll show you a really quick, easy way to fix that mountain. All you're going to do is go into your black and blue mixture, and we're going to put one more tree right over top of that guy. Right there. And he's just going to hide out in the back. He's kind of crooked maybe, hiding in the back there. Let's get our highlight color. Put a couple highlights on him. Just a little bit. Let's give him a little top. And you can see how I kind of got rid of that little spot that I didn't like. No problem. Trees, you can put trees over top of everything and it'll hide a lot of the stuff that you think didn't look right. And I just thought that top of that mountain didn't look right. So I put a tree over top of it. Very nice and simple. Let's go into our white. We're going to start finishing up this painting. Just white on the bottom. And we're going to put that white's going to mix with that blue. Maybe that white comes across here. And comes across this way. Let me get some more white on the palette here. Right across here. Just let that break. Just let it break. And he's going to go across here. It's okay to grab some of that dark color from the trees. It will help with your shadows. It'll help a lot with your shadows. Just that indication that's coming through there. There's a little pond in the front. Let's take our white again. And we put some color under here. Just black and blue. And you're just going to tap your 1-inch brush. And we're going to pull straight down right here. Just pull straight down. Maybe that goes this way. All I'm doing is pulling straight down, grabbing a little bit of that snow. On this side here, pull straight down. Maybe up here goes. Add a little more white if you need to. Nice and straight. And it goes off. Clean off your brush, and all we're going to do is gently, very gently go across. And now Make sure these are straight. Now we got a nice little pond. No problem. We're gonna take some of our white. Let's fill in these spots here. I see a little spot that I don't like. We're gonna put some big old bushes right here. We'll tie all of this in a minute. All right, just pulling straight down. I saw a couple spots that I might need to fix. And across. Just gently across. Kind of make it look like ice. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our straight black. We're going to put some indications of land there. Just on the edge of the water. Take your black, cut off a nice roll of paint. Now what we're going to do is tap. Some more paint on here. Just tap. We're going to hide some of that with our water line that we're going to put in here. Just tap straight across. Just the indication that maybe there's a little bit of land that's poked through. We can grab our brush, go across, clean it off here. Just nicely across. We'll fix that up with our knife just in a few seconds here. Straight down. Grab a little bit of land. That'll have a little reflection to it. We're going to take our liquid white that we have, clean off our knife. Just put a little bit on your palette here. Normally I would mix it with blue, but I want this to look like ice. So all we're going to do is scrub a water line in here, an ice line almost. Take some more liquid white. Just going to scrub on that just to make it look a little frosty on that side. We'll fix that up in a minute. You just pull, you know how ice kind of melts a little bit and it leaves that very interesting edge. Just need some more white here. Gonna go on this side. Maybe some of that snow falls in there. And it's just liquid white. That's all it is. We can put some indication down here. And we're cutting straight across. Straight across. It'll look funny if you don't have it straight across. It'll look like the water's flowing out of your painting. That's not what you want. Take a bit more white. I see a spot over here. It's kind of odd to me. And we'll just turn it into ice. There we go, just like that. We can put some bushes right in the corner. I'm just dipping into that liquid white, tapping it on. We're just gonna put the little indication of some bushes kind of hanging out here. All I'm doing is tapping. Tap. Just a gentle push. Just a couple bushes. Nothing too fancy. We might put some blue on there. Maybe there's some leftover blueberries hanging out there. All we're doing is tapping. Nice tap. Maybe here's a little bit. Alright, I just took some Prussian blue, mixed it with white. Just in a few spots. Nothing overpowering. This is still spring, so maybe there's just a few bushes in there that may have some leftover. Might have some leftover berries that the deer or the moose came by and ate. Who knows? Just the indication. We'll clean up the bottom. Clean up that bottom just a little bit. There we go. Clean up the bottom. Same with this side. Maybe it goes in a little bit. Leave that shadow. Leave that shadow in there. Looks really nice with that shadow. And all I'm doing is scrubbing just a little bit farther in some places. Just a little bit farther. I still think we need a little bit of snow there. So I took some liquid white on my brush and just lighten this up just a little bit. Just looks a little dark to me. You can just, stand back, have a look at your painting. And if you think it needs to be a little brighter at certain places, go ahead, put it in there. And this is dark in the back, we know that. Last thing we need to do, dip your liner brush. Dip your liner brush. I think I'm gonna go for almost like a purple color. Dip your liner brush in there. Maybe lighten it up a bit, like a violet color, I think. I think that'll look nice. Just a violet color. Right in the bottom corner, or wherever you want to put your signature. All you're gonna do is put your signature down. Mine's very simple. I really didn't take too much time developing my signature. It's just an A and an M. But you know what? It's yours. You can do whatever kind of signature you want. A symbol, doesn't matter. And I put the year, just so I can keep track, right on the bottom. Alright, I think we got a finished painting. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope this maybe gives you some inspiration, some ideas to paint. And yeah, just go out and try it. It's really good for your mental health. It'll help you in the long run. And you'll come home and paint a really nice picture to hang on your wall. So thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope I entertained you just for a little bit. Hope you enjoyed the painting. My name's Andy. I'm the painting fireman. You have yourself a wonderful day. Keep your shining side up. Have a good day.